know. Fantasy is more than an empty dream. It's a dream with the power to change the world! Damn you!
We did it. We saved the country. That was the hardest goddamn fight. I fought that guy for like 2 days, like 3 hours each day. Oh my god. So many attempts and it's finally over.
That must be the lord that governs Utopia in all worthy champions. The hero's archetype. The king. I see. At long last, fantasy has become a force that frees people from anxiety. A harbinger of change for a deadlocked reality.
The people have chosen my son. With that, my tremendous gamble hath borne fruit. Thus it is that my duty here draws to a close.
And now, the novel you wrote with such passion will finally begin a new chapter.
This voice... could it be? But how?
While flames swept through the sanctum, I cast a final spell to abandon my body and survive in soul. I became an immaterial being among the fairies. I had to, so I might provide guidance to the child on his most perilous path.
So it was my mom.
Power of the archetypes.
I think
that your
that's
doing?
my assume.
No. All I did was awaken them to it. My voice carried the words they needed to hear. That power is no great and rare treasure. It is something that might be grasped by anyone with the will to change the world. And anyone has the power to change the world. Those children proved as much.
I am truly sorry. I lost all the power I once knew. I saw the sanctum burn. And you. I lost you. Once they took our child from me, all my remaining hope went with him. And so I placed my faith in the royal magic. I believe that if this world would choose him, there would still be hope.
This shall do. That boy's fight, and ours, is finally over. The people no longer need some mystic relic or some lofty magics to soothe their fears. They have found the strength to overcome it within, provided they can turn their anxiety into strength and never stop walking toward the unknown. Reality will ever change. Their world shall be one full of possibility.
This isn't about the throne anymore. It marks the beginning of a new era, led by those who are truly worthy of the people's trust. Almost the appointed time now. The day is dawning on a new king's reign. And with it, my true passing. However, if I may truly end my life with pride in my boy, and my love at my side, I've no regrets.
It's been a long road to this moment, hasn't it?
It has indeed. But for our son, a new journey now begins. Heed me, all people of the kingdom. Dawn breaks, and the appointed hour hath come.
He speaks. With the announcement of our new king, everything finally ends.
I now settle the long-contested succession to the throne. They who hath gathered the most faith from their subjects amassed, they who have overcome this fierce contest, the throne's new sovereign, I now reveal. Behold, your new king of your kingdom united.
Look! It's him! Yeah!
Yay! Look! Look, that's him, isn't it? He won!
He certainly did, love. He really did. Oh, I still can't believe it. That boy pulled it off. His Majesty, the new king.
I won't accept it! The new king is Count Luis.
He can't just crown his son after all. That's cheating, that is. Rise up, people! Riot!
Disorderly conduct will not be permitted.
Settle down. The tournament is over. Our new king has been decided, and the royal capital falls under His Majesty's rule. Threaten it, and you shall face the wrath of the Crown Theocracy's warrior monks.
Bloody fantastic. They really did it. Quietude descended once again upon the royal capital, and the day of the new king's coronation arrived.
Boy, coronation really crept up on us. There's a lot of people in the crowd.
Don't tell me you're nervous. After everything we survived already, stage fright should be nothing for you.
All the same, my heart's pounding out of my chest.
Is it? Nothing you're not used to then. It's just like with the archetypes. Just keep your head high.
It'll be fine. We'll keep the crowd warmed up for you.
Your newfound dignity suits you well, Your Highness. But I suppose you have outgrown that title. Your Majesty. Yes, that too suits you well.
By the way, saw some of them Senate fat cats hovering about, acting like they've been supporting us from the start, of course. Always on the winning side, eh?
Better than the alternative, no? Especially since we've got some Luis diehards among the people.
I hear that many are concerned about his proficiency with statecraft. To be honest, I'm not so sure myself.
Juna will stand as moderator at the podium. His Majesty will only be asked for a few brief answers. First, the people would know how you aim to lead them. How will you respond to that, Your Majesty?
We have the power to change the world. All of us. I know I'm inexperienced, but I'll strive to do my utmost. With all of you at my side.
That's fine. The people have about had it with pompous monologues. Better to say what you mean with determination.
Still, there are a lot of people in the crowd who have never supported you. How are you going to respond to them?
I'll let my work prove.
I'll have to let my work prove my words. With results, I hope everyone can feel that our future will be brighter.
You went from a nobody to the top seat in the nation. No need to puff up and bluster anymore, what? You'll do fine.
I feel like every emperor I choose.
Tall. The
It's
rest
wrong.
is not done alone. We are with you.
Indeed. And we're no strangers to more practical work. Whatever our tasks, I'm sure we can handle them.
Well, it is time to make your first appearance as our king. Let us brace ourselves.
Good luck.
Whew. All right, everybody take a deep breath.
Thanks for always having my back.
We're the king
Well, let's
now.
go. To His Majesty, the new king.
All right, a warm welcome, please. His Majesty, the new king. Your Majesty, you're so young.
Please. My king, your subjects would hear how you intend to lead them.
Relax, okay? Take it easy and use your own words.
I'm not gonna even get to choose. It's gonna be all cutscene.
As a ruler, I've much to learn. I cannot say what I'll accomplish. And yet, I believe the world can change by our hand. And to that end, I will face any odds.
Now, Your Majesty, a few more words. Naturally, some under your rule now supported other people in the race. How do you respond to their voices?
There will be times I let you down. I know that. Only results can prove my intent. But still, even should you oppose your king, you can always believe in your own future. I will make sure of it.
A nation where dreams and fantasies are always in reach. Will surely be a challenge.
We'll make it happen.
There you go. If you can pull that off, you'll be the finest king we've known. Well then, this is it. Your attention, please.
No lord remains for you to kneel before. Please take the crown with your own hands, my king.
Ah, long have I awaited the arrival of this day. This journey has reached its end. He came to know the goodness of a hero's heart, and became the king his people had always hoped for. But as this journey ends, so another begins. I'd like you to watch over him on his path for a little longer yet.
Does that mean there's gonna be like some DLC or
1
stuff?
year has passed since the arrival of the new king.
A year has passed already? My goodness. Okay. Is this where I get to do like leftover stuff like the trial of the dragons and all that random stuff? I'm just walking among the people. It looks more colorful now too.
Hey, heard the news? They're finally reopening that mage academy that got closed down.
You don't say. The famous one deep in the Montario Mountains. Really?
Oh,
I'm impressed.
That's
it only
cool.
took them a year.
They've even paved a proper mountain road. And get this,
Okay.
Their mistress is none other than Lady Juna.
Awesome.
What? The songstress?
Well, she is one of the king's 6 partisans. If she managed to help save the world from Louise,
Oh, is that what they're called now?
I expect she knows
The
a
6
thing
partisans?
or two about magic.
That's pretty
Sounds
cool.
like they
That's
plan to
badass.
fully open the magic researcher's findings to the people too. Quite a turn from when the late Sanctifex banned it.
Makes sense to me. After the clash between His Majesty and Luis last year, everyone knows you don't really need an igniter to use magic.
And that's just today's news. It's surprise after surprise, ever since us church folk got the boot from the palace. Even the Royal Knights. Their leadership was bound to the church more than anything, and now he's out on his ear too. And replaced by Sir Jaime Noctul, no less.
You believe that? The Royal Knights, led by a Ujif, of all things. Though he's one of the 6 partisans himself. When he speaks, everyone listens. No one's about to complain.
Even Parliament now invites citizen representatives to hearings. Strange to think we'd been deaf to the voice of the people until now. It's unbelievable, compared to the days of the autocrats. How swiftly the times change, eh?
Credit where it's due. I think it's thanks to His young majesty. Remember last year's coronation? Unprecedented, that. Saw heroes of all different tribes celebrating the king's victory. Celebrating among the common folk, even. They tell me some of the younger aristocrats have taken to calling it the Great Reconciliation. It really is a tragedy, what happened to his father, the king. But considering how his sons turned out, I hope he's at peace.
Indeed. Yet the real test is still to come. The first year has seen a lot of good, but we've still got our share of problems.
Speaking of
how do
His
you not
Majesty,
notice me?
I've also heard some folks saying they've seen a boy wandering around these parts who looks just like him.
Uh-oh.
You don't suppose?
Ah, can't be. Without his escorts? Besides, what business would a king have in this place?
Suppose you're right.
I'm buying potatoes. And mangoes. Oh, back to another cutscene.
Mountains upon mountains of appeals from the people. How many days will this take to sort?
After all the trouble you took to flee politics. And somehow you're now the preeminent ladyship of your house. Such is fate.
Despite everything, this year has passed in surprising peace, hasn't it? Honestly, with the royal scepter disappearing like that, I feared more dissent.
Perhaps after Luis, they swore they could never let that happen again. Either way, more and more are dealing with conflicts calmly and openly. Promising.
It promises that I'll have an eternally cluttered desk.
Here, Your Majesty. I've brought in the next load. And there we go. Not half bad, right? Hey! Isn't the king supposed to be here?
When did he? I've said countless times not to leave unannounced.
Oh, all this decoration doesn't suit me. How'd Luis and Forden put up with all this damn finery? Your Majesty? Are you here? Juna's back from her inspection.
Apologies, Troll. I'll look for him now.
Wait! I'm coming with you!
Oh, good grief. Some things never change. Not that they should.
The king's gone
I'd
missing.
say life has changed plenty for us.
Plan yellow.
Yet
Plan
somehow
yellow.
our captain's same as he ever was.
It's a me.
And then, well, I might have got a bit too fresh with them stuck-up Sanctists. But those bloody church folk been looking down on us for years, you know? Still, it was other Sanctists what stepped in to keep things peaceable too. I reckon they're not all bad. Guess me cogs turning. They lost both their Sanctifex and the Saint Lady last year. Got their own struggles, I expect. Not like it excuses all of them or makes me want to go up and shake a sanctor's hand, but you really put some perspective on it.
It was good talking to you, too.
You know what, lad? You're all right. You ever need some good, honest work? I'll get you squared, eh?
These people not know what their king looks like?
I should have known you'd be wandering around without your escorts again. How is it, being able to hear the city's honest thoughts? If you told them you're the king, it'd knock them sideways. Sorry you ended up coming all this way. Maria's actually out on an errand right now.
And I suppose I'll wait until she comes back.
You sure? That girl always ends up on detours. No telling how long she'll be. Either way, best keep your head down. You know what happens when you're too obvious about this. Sooner or later, the Lady Captain of the Royal Guard...
Oh, there you are. I knew we'd find you here for
Oh,
crying
God.
out loud.
I got found. Run. Hide.
So you were here.
Speak of the devil.
Let us return, Your Majesty. And I thought I had informed you that Juno would be back from her expedition today.
I have a few stops left in the city, though.
You do know I practically sprinted out the gates to find you. 'Tis settled. I shall come with you on every excursion.
Not dressed like that, you won't. You know how we like snooping around, inconspicuously.
Point taken.
He'll be fine. His Majesty is not about to fall prey to some alleyway scoundrel, surely. Right, Your Majesty. If you see Maria about, do slow down for a chat. She'll be shattered if she finds out she just missed you.
Fine. Now, Your Majesty, once your business here is finished, please make sure you return to the palace with all swiftness.
All right.
Maria.
Let's go.
Where are you? She might be at the Grand Cathedral. Why not talk to everyone first?
Hey?
That's a lot of people, though. When you're finished your business outside the palace, please promise me that you'll return to resume your duties. If you take this as my pressuring you not to venture out, that's not it at all. Only that a captain of the Royal Guard, I must know that your whereabouts at all times. You don't need to be so serious. Maybe lighten up a little. You mean to say I'm too fussy? Well, 'tis only proper for the captain of the Royal Guard. To be overfamiliar would set a poor example. Imagine the scandalized faces of the rank and file.
Of course.
That said, not a day goes past that I don't reflect on our travels. Not only a year has passed. I owe regaining my pride as a knight to that journey. I was but a wanderer, searching in vain for the prince, and it was through you that I learned that he lived, and in the end, it was your ascent to the throne I supported.
And so?
I never tire of the facts that the younger guards make when I tell them all the time you acted as my witness to my duel. Ah, Verdanth. Thanks to you, I was able to face him with eyes forward. I'm pleased to say the knights of today are nothing like what they were under his command. Soldiers take up their sword not for those in power, but for the people. And as the champion of the people yourself, we will do all in our power to protect you, our king. You do not make it easy by sneaking out of the palace, though. I suspect the soldiers are getting used to your chaotic tendencies. They know they protect not just a king, but a ruler who stands beside his people and hears their voices.
This I vow.
I will protect you with my life.
What do you want to do?
Say that.
Oh, he looks really cool in this outfit, too. It's been a year since you descended the throne, but it seems like you've hardly changed. You haven't changed much either. That's Lord, or General, Your Majesty. I really should take a page from Juna's book. She has a gift for delegating, like she was born to do it. Not that I can talk. I came out of a bit of a breather myself.
Even so.
You know, I see now that even at those at the top have their struggles a little too clearly. A general's duties feel overwhelming. But there are lives hanging in the balance. I recognize the weight of every decision, and I do with satisfaction protecting those lives.
Hey.
Remember our meeting back at the recruitment center? I was a fallen noble with nothing to my name, and you were a struggling Elda traveler. Back then, my only goal was getting ahead. My people were a little more than an afterthought. If I hadn't met you, I'd never even realized the truth about my fortune, my father's intentions, and I certainly wouldn't have saved the Hallians. I owe seeing their joy in their faces to you. I think I've said it before, but thank you again.
That's...
You need to give yourself some credit.
No.
I still owe any credit I could take to you for showing me the way. They live stable, peaceful lives. You've a whole country on your shoulders now. The road ahead will be full of challenges. But show me the way, and I'll blaze the trail. Now and always, it's my role as a warrior. Our titles have changed, but I'd like to think our friendship is steadfast as ever. Don't hesitate to rely on me.
Stay there.
Who's right here? Someone's right here. Katarina! Long time no see.
Oh, right.
Ain't it been? I've been out traveling since I took the reins of the Seekers recon team. Hard to believe it's been half a year. And crazy doesn't even begin to describe what's beyond the sea. The sights, the magic, everything's so fantastic. I'm already itching to get back out there. Well, I'm not especially keen on dodging the bloody cannonballs where my ship gets too close. A lot of tension out there, but what country isn't a little tense? Everything from the customs to the way they think is different. My head spins. It makes all the tribal bickering seem right dull, if I could speak my mind. But this country's changing for the better, and I'm glad I can turn the throne over to you.
Hold on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Oh, come on, I'm roasting you. After we knocked heads, I knew I could trust you with making the lives of the Parapets better than they already was. All my cohorts have found jobs, and some of them have even picked up new skills.
See you soon, I hope.
Don't worry your kingly head, I'll have it all whipped up in a report for you. Do something proper kingish, yeah?
Oh.
I believe Hulkenberg was searching for you, but I suppose it's none of my business who comes and goes. I won't brace myself. Try not to frustrate your royal guards over much, huh? They all take their duties quite seriously, much like their captain. Who am I kidding? A knight who smiles is surely a myth. That's become clear to me since becoming titled. What could be more bizarre? A Ujiv outcast, all at once a wanted criminal with a bounty on his head, made knight commander. There was once, of course, opposition, but the more heart-to-heart talks I've had, the more accepting they become. And outcast became king. They needn't look further than the outcast who became their king. Indeed, you face no shortage of persecution, and look at you now. Grand titles and posts across the nation are no different, spread across all the tribes. I've realized over the past year just how much a nation is defined by its people. No matter how great a king, he alone does not a country make.
However,
yet he stands for those very people as symbol and representative. That the king and those around him are mixed tribes, it already has a great shift in sentiment, even for those in the rural village. How is Tadari?
Yes.
Seems as busy as he can handle now that they've resumed trade with villages. Your coronation inspired the village to greater heights. It proved that barriers can be broken and that they could take the very first step. New winds are blowing in every corner of the country. I'll have to make another trip back home with my son to see the changes. I hope distant generations will grow up knowing conflict born of tribal difference only from history books. We've a ways to go before that day comes, but until it does, let us forge a path. Everybody's so close together, it's so nice.
Pleasure to see you.
Why hello, my friend from the dead. Under constant fire from all natives of all trades, commoners, Curtis alike, your opening act has been rather tumultuous, no? I haven't noticed. What a kingly answer. Never missing an opportunity to display how capable you are. Besides, most of the agitators are the kind of scum that stirs the pots and hopes that might benefit from the country's turmoil. Nothing I couldn't handle, of course, all in a day's work for the Royal Adjutant to the Citizens' Council. Quite an ally I've made. Wonder if my mother would be the slightest bit proud to see who I've become. That I'm doing my damnedest to use my talents for good, as I should have always. I'm sure she would.
Yes.
I hope so. I was such a promised child. I'd like to make this a country where honest folk like my mother can be happy.
Now that you mention it.
That reminds me. Do you know Turum, my homeland's landowner? He told me to send you his regards. Since he confessed his crimes in his waiting trial, you were the one who awakened his conscience. Makes sense, doesn't it? You've proven your ideals to be true. That's why the country's doing well. There's nothing more to it. I'm hardly qualified to speak of pride, but if this country has one, it's you, and I'm proud to be among its people. Perhaps under your rule, the day will come when even us Nydia can walk about freely in our true forms. You're curious about what I look like in my true form. I'd be happy to oblige, but let's save that for another time. Oh, true. I wonder, he's probably like a little tiny little thing.
My king.
Oh, there you are. I heard you were in town, so I decided to see if we might cross paths. I have so much to tell you about my inspection, but I'm afraid you need to clear your diary for me.
In that case.
Any souvenirs?
Gosh!
Let's just focus on the report. I'll just give you the gist.
Well,
The Mages Academy's reconstruction is going swimmingly. Repairs are in full swing, and we've already processing admissions. I must say, I'm surprised you appointed me, of all people, to the Academy's headmistress. I was rather looking forward to going back on tour. Well, I shall introduce you to my little furry friend. I scooped him up at the Academy. He's the cat. Considering the igniter around his neck, I'm sure he was being taken care of. I mean, there's no way a cat could survive all alone in that cold, could he?
so
Regardless, our mystery cat is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Academy. All its knowledge was lost when it fell, and we're starting from scratch. It may even be hiding as big as the Dragon Temple or the Sanctum. Oh, I'm keeping the cat. Feels like fate,
speaking
you know?
of which,
I met up with Mythis. Ooh.
Now
Is
we're
she well?
talking.
yeah.
Her third has been fine, and she's a fairly prominent singer now. Good. We both just keep soaring to new heights. Her and her music, and me coming to face with magic.
Hey!
Surely you remember, music was the first magic born in this world. When the heart expresses itself through magic, it moves the heart of others. That's when they make hearts swell. Why? There's no end to magic. Just you watch. With music and magic at my side, I'm going to change the world. All will have equal opportunity to hone their talents at the Mage Academy. Our doors are open to all. That's what my sister would have wanted. And if it makes the world a better place, why isn't that just grand? Rella taught me that magic is more than a tool. It's in all of us. The king himself is out browsing the shops. Perhaps I need to draft up a royal certificate of appointment. Tell the world we need to supply goods to the royal family. Any recommendations? One igniter in particular, though I'm afraid we're all sold out. The igniter I made at the children's request, the one that lights up with rainbow colors, it sells startlingly well. The store was packed with families and children.
Say,
I now hold a position where I control the distribution of all manner of goods throughout the kingdom as the head of the Igniter Consortium. I can't help but think that I have the position sooner than the church's violence. The tragedy of that village could have been prevented.
Brigitte.
What matters now is we move forward, though.
yes.
Indeed, I can't dwell on the past all I wish, but it won't change it. The future, on the other hand. I took up this post after I was nominated by my colleagues. In other words, I suppose that means people have expectations of me, and that too, I am spoke in the wheel of change. Our new king has changed his country for the better. However, as a former arms dealer, it would be naive to think all the weapons could ever just disappear.
Yet.
It's all the more reason I hope that the reasons for people to wield them continue to decline. To that end, I'll be doing everything I can, just as
Speaking
you.
of,
Oh, do you remember my dog? I found the ones who took her. Naturally, I considered ending their lives, but there she was, sitting beside them. Evidently, they could not bring themselves to heart such a swing creature, so they decided to keep her. I had no choice but to spare their lives. I couldn't subject a gentle dog to atrocities. You should come play with her sometime. Yes, the dog lived! What's up, Bart?
Something.
What are you here? I have a meeting going over how provincial governments are doing. We govern for the new year. How are things in Martira? It's as lively as it used to be. We all throw it to you, Your Majesty. That dodgy mess you cleaned up feels like ancient history. I'm pleased to report, as the head of the Lords, it's nothing as good news reaching my ears. Better relations between towns, and employment rate is up, and welfare too. Each town has specialties and wisdoms to offer, but when we combine our heads, there's no problem we can't solve. I just feel so blessed to be a part of it. I know I made some blunders when I first stepped to the governance role, but I'm happy to share my failings so others don't repeat my mistakes. Oh, that brings me back. I know, I was trying to do too much back then, and I got a bit overzealous. Of course, some lords are like I was once, and would rather manage things at their sole discretion than leave things to the people. And yes, every matter to the public opinion can be laborious with all the proceedings and disputes.
Then again.
Still, changing our own lives with our own hands makes the process worth the trouble.
Brilliant.
And choosing a king of our own will was all the inspiration we needed.
Lovely that.
Just make a new one bigger and better. What brings the Royal Majesty here? Come to feel the wind on your face. I know how it is. I fancy the old title of Chief Engineer of the Old Kingdom's Infrastructure Development Bureau. Him can research as I can please, but something's missing. So I threw off that stuffy old uniform and came to gaze upon the runner in the way I used to.
About that.
I know what you mean.
Oh.
I knew you'd agree. I think my bones are aching to feel the wind. I'd rather miss the days of dashing hither and thither.
Perhaps.
Well, not that I'm ungrateful for the gracious title you've earned for me. You haven't seen anything yet. Why, one day I'll invent a teleportation device that will deliver fresh fish straight from the ocean to your place. It will change the world, wouldn't you say? I'm just a bit stuck at the beginning on the development. At times like this, I need a stimulation of the mind. Do you have anything that might do the trick? Do I spell another relic? Don't pretend you didn't enjoy it. Every time you pop back in with a new one, I remember how I could hardly contain my excitement. Even if the relics themselves were better left untouched, they became the guiding principles of my research, you know.
That's...
Convenience is important, but one must consider safety and effects it might have on the world. An engineer who dumps a burden on the future generations is no engineer at all.
However...
Still, it's no small feat to design with perfect balance of safe and revolutionary. Even I struggle with it. And I knew it. What I need is stimulation. Your Majesty, you know, like the soul-shaking speed and quiver of a drive engine. You let me know if you ever want to go out for a spin, you know? Our old girl is sparkling clean and ready for takeoff. Oh, see, so he did fix it already. Being here sure brings back memories. You remember how we came here looking for Maria before the Tournament of the Throne? She was crying back then.
But
she's happy now. You can say that again. This country's turned around since then, no doubt about it. I'm sure there will always be differences of opinion, but your ideals are coming to fruition. I can feel it. That reminds me, what's up with the book you're carrying around now? Is it the one you've been working on? I'm excited to see what kind of fantasy you can conjure up. But maybe that's not even the word for it. After all, if you're the one putting it in ink, that means you're going to make it a reality. So, shall we get going? Sword surfing. Yep, there she is. Grius deserves the highest of honor. Give him a big old statue right in the middle.
Hello there. Oh, right. I suppose now I should call you Your Majesty. You know, I was just telling Papa, even through all that mess, everyone's really been working hard.
Am I keeping my promise properly from back then?
Yes. You beat the villain, and now the city's full of smiles. And I'm sure Papa's smiling down on you too.
That's good. Hearing that from you really lifts my heart.
Don't worry. I'll try to do my part with what I've got. I want to help everyone understand that the world could be a better place if we can join hands with one another. Miss Fabian's fed so many hungry people since things changed. Some of those people even said they found their place there. I think I did too. If we can all change together for the better like that, we'll be closer to Your Majesty's and Papa's dream. And I want to help with something too. I want everyone across the land to be able to smile.
Yes. I expect great things, my trusty advisor.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Majesty. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
We should be the ones thanking her. Feels like I can see the entire country's future in her smile.
Everyone!
Long time no see. How have you been?
As we find ourselves afield, I thought I might visit Alsace myself.
Hold on a tick. Those people there. Surely not.
Naturally, we're drawing attention. We didn't all have to go at once.
Needn't fuss, old thing. It's been too long since we were all together again anyway.
Lady Tuna, did you really come all this way in a runner? Could have asked His Majesty to pop over and bring you back with a teleport or two.
The unmitigated nerve. Oh, it's fine. I wanted to take in our country as it is. It's definitely a little rougher outside the capital's walls. There's still traces of melancholia around, and the odd human roaming about.
We're sending soldiers out for every incident we can. But but it's not easy to hear the voice of the people from more distant regions.
I guess it's obvious. But just because you're king now doesn't make you suddenly all-seeing.
A lesson I learned last year. In the end, I was blind to a great deal of this world. Never would have learned if I hadn't pushed out the door and seen it with my own eyes.
A year ago, I would have just said we could fly over ourselves. I mean, let's be real. The capital isn't gonna fall apart if we just sneak over for a little tour, is it?
Of course not. We specifically put precautions in place to keep things running.
Yet it has only been 1 year. We cannot be too complacent too soon, lest the dissidents seize on the opportunity.
Oh, there he is! Over there! See? I told you, that's His Majesty, innit? Might have been a bit too obvious.
Oi there, Your Majesty!
You dare hoy the king? You swine!
Steady on, Hulkenberg, calm. You needn't draw steel on the poor fellow. We're the ones who indulged in this little day trip.
Your Majesty, thanks for all you do, really. Have to say, my life's a lot easier now.
There's more work to do every day. But we're in this together. We believe in you.
Everyone's so supportive. Kind of brings back memories from last year.
Rather. It's the sort of thing to get a chap all misty-eyed over the past. What a journey it was.
Looks like we're drawing a crowd. Time to get back to work.
Indeed. A veritable mountain of tasks awaits us, and I will see it crested.
And not long after, the new year dawned.
A journey? Are you really planning on leaving us?
There's more I have to see. With my own eyes.
You want to know what's going on in the world, huh? Well, I guess you are the king.
Sounds like fun, but a daily jaunt down to the slums is one thing, and a proper journey is quite another. You're a king now, lad. You've got the people's expectations on your shoulders. It's all right to just sit on your throne and mind the home front, you know?
I want to do what I can for the people. If that's not kingly, then the crown's just slowing me down.
Come on, this is no time for jokes.
Ever the fearless gadabout, eh? Well, I take your point, lad. Magler and the humans make a fine barometer for the anxiety still swirling in the country. So you go out and give it a proper survey, where it is and how much is there. If people can't face their anxieties, they can't keep their eyes forward. And if they can't do that, we'll have a bally hard time moving forward as a nation or a people. So you want to get a better grasp of it all. That's your most important duty as a ruler. That's what you're thinking, eh?
Right.
If that was your plan, you could have just said so.
Sounds like a fine idea to me. A proper spot of fun, besides. Wouldn't expect any less from our king and captain. Well, since I'm the bally court engineer, I've no choice but to come along. I'm the only driver fit to maneuver the Royal Skyrunner after all. Yes, here begins our quest anew. Let us sally forth upon our... hello? Are you not listening to me?
Sire, you've really got to stop chasing these ideas all on your own. You'll be the death of us.
Once again, sire, I've asked you countless times to give word if you're to leave the castle. Such caprice.
Nurse, don't tell me you called for them beforehand.
Saved us a bit of time, eh? Though, hello, what's this? I count only 2 of the 6 partisans. Short a few spears.
For my part, I believe 'tis unrealistic for all of us to depart the capital together.
Oh, so you have no plans to stop our little adventure, eh?
Hulkenberg and I talked it over. We decided that if you insist on going, we'd rather go with you than stop you.
Are you sure about this?
I was thinking back to our last fight with Luis. So many people supported us, but not for any high-minded ideals or arguments.
They were supporting us because we were actively fighting a monster on their behalf. In the end, people make choices based on their personal experience and emotion. Even if decided justly and supported by prosperity, the people may struggle to trust a king whose face they do not know. An invisible ruler is no cure for their fears.
Right. I'm not opposed to the idea of getting out into the world again. Really, it might be the wisest move to make sure you're a king everyone knows.
Still, this early into the new year? 'Tis never a dull moment in your Majesty's employ.
Bit of a smaller party than we last set out with, huh? But it's a pleasure to be on the road again with you.
Okay, but can we really afford to have both our general and the Royal Guard's captain coming along for this?
'Tis natural course for the Royal Guard to accompany the king. And I trust my corps is not so feeble that it will fall apart in my absence.
We'll make it work. Got to learn to trust others and delegate, right? And we'll just have to lead by example.
Thank you. All of you. Let's be off.
You once heard my voice and answered a query in kind. Is fantasy a powerless creation? That timeless question. So long as life remains in the world, we seekers all shall search for our answer. But he will find his. Of that I am certain. And it is thanks to you for believing in and guiding him. That was the true purpose of my royal magic, you know. To seek and obtain guidance from denizens of a land beyond ours. A land that has not yet lost hope. And it was you who answered the call. Armed with your hope, armed with the power of fantasy, you rose in glory. Such courage, such whimsy, and yes, what thrills. You have my sincerest thanks.
All right, and that was Metaphor ReFantazio.
It's been far too long.
Oh, this was such a good
The
game.
wind feels an echo of days past.
Just like every other Atlas game. It's amazing. Oh, what's up, Heimsme?
They're awful, aren't they? They would have left us behind. Oh.
Well, I'm not certain
We
we're
were
in a
told-
position to talk, having followed straight after, saying we could just teleport back.
Well, hey, we figured the kids might want to change your scenery, like.
Wow!
Maria! Alright, remember to like, follow, and subscribe.
Poetic
It's
indeed.
free and it helps out a
But the
lot,
scepter's
everybody.
absence restored order to Magla, and
And I'll
even
hope you
greenery to
guys
the sands.
stay tuned for the next playthrough.
I'll
Peace
say,
out, everybody.
I definitely like this view better.
Let's go.
In your eyes, I know our journey was ultimately a fiction. However, I hope your memories of this fantastical adventure burn as bright in your reality. I hope the promise of our world echoes in you. With all my heart, I hope that fantasy gives you strength.
Look at that. The rubble's just bait for tourists now.
I never expected a view like this.
Let's see it all! Let's see the world!
Yeah.
A new journey now beckons. In days of Eld, the people prospered and perished in turn. Struck by their ways, I wrote a book of my dearest ideals. A tale of fantasy. In my vision, they placed their trust, and so the kingdom breathed new life.
The strength to believe in the unknown, that can change everything. Without a doubt, you will face all sorts of trials ahead. But carry onward with all your heart. Onward, fearless, into a world unknown.